1. Now, before we actually get started, Drum's going to play a little song for you.
Wake up song.
Wake up song. Of course,
It's Monday
a
morning.
lot of people are in Eastern time, so they've been up for a while.
Oh, man.
He needs to wake up, though. All right, so hit it, Jerome.
That get everybody warmed up there a little bit?
I'm so warm.
Let me take a look.
Music.
Well, you look like you got some happy faces. All right.
Did you take
Oh,
mine?
I took his notes. I wanted to take it. I didn't want them to peek and know what you're going to do in advance.
Okay, let me just put them right there. I don't think they can see them right there, can they?
No, that's okay. You do whatever you want.
Okay, everybody. Today's class is going to be in two parts. I know some of the guys that I work with, my co-workers, have gone over this a couple of times. Today I wanted to show you how you can get other sounds on the on your instrument, and this is going to be this is going to gear toward the beginner people and for the people who might have forgotten this, and or if you just want to know how to get the sounds. Okay. There's a couple of things we're going to talk about. First thing this morning is how to get the sounds on the top keyboard, how to get the sounds on the bottom keyboard, how to get dual sounds, D-U-A-L. I know some of you guys said this guy's from Mississippi. We don't know what dual is. Two people, two sounds, okay? How to get your more sounds, okay? How to get your left lower sounds, the left lower sounds, the left keyboard, the lower sounds on the left. How to get your right lower sounds if you got a split keyboard, and for the most part, all of you got split keyboards, including the Easy One. Yes. If I'm wrong, then you might want to check with your PA.
The Easy One has a split keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, left and right.
Left and right hand. For the most part, all keyboards has a split section there, okay? Here we go. Let's go to the first diagram we had up on the screen. There, okay, Robert, if you can pull that up for me. That is the very first one, orchestra right. Orchestra sounds.
The one of the organ?
Yeah, it's on the Easy 4.
This one?
No, not that.
This one there?
Yeah, that one there, okay? You see the sounds? You're going to find this in your owner's manual, guys, okay? So if you forget, but we're recording this, so you can always go back to it. The sounds on the upper keyboard, if you press the piano button, remember this, if you press the piano button, that's just one piano, okay? If you use your scroll button, you're going to get a honky-tonk piano. If you use your scroll button again, you'll get what they call electronic e-piano, electronic piano detune.
Hold on. I'm going to keep that up there.
Okay.
And I'm going to come back here for a second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to zoom, get a little close. I hope I don't make you too dizzy here. Just bear with me. I want them to see what you're.
The scroll button. If I press the piano button here, okay, we're gonna press it again, have it on, and it's gonna come up piano grand. And here's your grand piano. Okay. If I press it, scroll again, it's gonna come up honky tonk. Now I'm going up, so you can either go either way on this. This is your honky tonk piano. So scroll up again, you're going to get what we call a detune piano, electronic. And from you guys who's from the 70s, you know what a Fender Rose piano or wireless electronic piano. They were slightly off A440, okay, maybe 839. So that's what detune mean, all right? It was actually tuned a little bit flatter. And I believe on this particular model, you have two. They got one called the classic electronic piano. Now that sounds exactly like my old little Wurlitzer piano that I bought back in the 70s. It was red, but a great piano, especially for a person who gigs. That sound was very popular back in the 70s. All right, next piano. His hand is getting tired, but we'll keep going, okay?
Hold on, let me put this back on here. My arm, should I say. All right, you want to go back to the screen share?
We're upside
you can still
down.
stay there.
Hey, I'm upside down. What's going on here? Sorry, folks.
We really decided to do something really different today, okay?
Okay. I got a... Whoops. All right, is that back on? Now,
Yeah.
when I put that on the screen, was it backwards? Did the
No.
words show up?
No, it was upside down.
No, when I had it on the screen of the organ, did you see the words? It wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because on our side it was doing it backwards. I just want to make sure you're seeing it the right way. All right.
Okay, the next piano that you're going to see is what we call the society piano. The society piano is, if you ever walked into Sears during the 60s and 70s, you heard two piano players playing all the time, Ferengi and Thresher. They played two pianos at one time. So one was in the upper octave and the other one was in the lower octave. And that's what the society piano is, okay? It's actually two pianos, an octave different from each other. Piano. Regular piano.
So as an example, if he puts on a regular piano,
It's only one octave. See?
okay, now go up one octave if you could on that. No, put the pinky on the top,
Yeah, pinky on top.
and then it's actually two octaves.
Yes.
So it's that, no, the top, that. There we go. Now put the society piano, play the one in the middle. So you could see an society piano is two octaves
Two octaves.
with one note.
Because you can't do it unless you have two hands if you're trying to do it just on a regular piano, okay? You got to have two hands to do two pianos. But
Kind of
if
sound like
that's-
Liberace style,
In
too.
a sense, yeah. In a sense it does, you know? All right. And the next sound that you're going to have, of course, is going to be the harpsichord, okay? The harpsichord was popular back in the 16th century, I believe it was. And the and this works. This scroll button and the sounds work the same way throughout the rest of the instruments. You get guitar sounds like the country guitar. You scroll up again, you got jazz guitar. got nylon guitar. I would consider that as your Spanish guitar in most cases, okay? And of course, you got your Hawaiian guitar. And again, you got your rock guitar. This particular instrument has actually 5 different sounds per button. Of course, it also has a more button. So if I want to get other sounds from the orchestra, just hit your more button.
Right here, this more buttons. So if some of you have, now you can't see his picture right now. Maybe you can. I have the screen share, but if you're looking at this, a lot of the instruments have a more button. So on the Estey as well, there's a button that says more. If you have a button that says more, it just means what it says. It has more sounds, and I don't know the exact number, but I think the Easy 4 has 70-something sounds in it,
I
and
haven't
the
counted
Easy
them.
10 has more than that.
That'd be a good question for the PA.
That's a great question for PA. And I'm just going to do a little, I'm going to mark this up and circle it here. So you could see this button. Look at that fancy circle. Oh, it knew I was drawing a circle. So when you touch the more button, it gives you access to all of the sounds. So now I had the screen share up when he was talking, but each of the models that have a button like a piano and guitar, some have 2, some have 4, some have 6, they have different number of sounds in there. Those are your ideal sounds that he's referring to. And now he's going to demonstrate a few from the more. Now I'm going to turn the screen share off so you could kind of see him doing it. Okay.
Your Tommy Dorsey trombone. Just a few more on this button. Your trumpet player. Scroll again. I got a muted trumpet. That's going to have a little skinny little
What
muted.
is a muted trumpet?
Well, it's kind of like 3 parts to a muted trumpet. They also have a little swivel thing they put in the bell of the trumpet. Then there's also a little bit of another bell within the bell that they can take out. So you got 2 forms of a muted trumpet. Also, you could also put your hand in it, in the bell of the trumpet. So there's about 3 different ways you can mute the trumpet. And they all got different sounds with different tone qualities. This one here sounds like that little other tube that's within the bell, within the tube, sound like the trumpet player that I was listening to in the Army. So.
Isn't that a sad song?
It's kind of a sad song, but I heard that quite a bit.
Can you do
too.
something happy with it?
Yeah, you can do
Let's
something.
see.
Of it. Let's do this then, okay?
Yeah, here we go.
All right, let's do with a little rhythm on it, okay?
Take off the piano. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's happy. So you can play something happy with it.
You can play something happy with it. What's so nice about trying to find some of the songs? You got to remember one thing about when you're finding some of the other sounds. If you're using your style button, the instrument is going to choose something really close to your rhythms that you're using with it anyway. But if you want to venture out, take your style button off. I like to do that a lot. Your style setup button or your organ preset button off. Some of the other people who have the bigger organs, I talk about this a lot. That's your style setup button there. Can you get the picture of that, Robert?
I'm going to zoom in. Let me zoom in here. This is a professional zoom quality. I grab it, and then I move my hand really close. And then I'm going to zoom in.
Style setup button, right
So
there.
style setup. And
The style setup button actually gives you the freedom to choose your own instrument with whatever rhythm you want.
if you turn it off,
If you
mean.
turn it off, right.
What about on the Estey?
I think you can do the same thing.
Well, let's see.
You have
There's
to
a
get
button that says, let's zoom in. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's called Auto Setup.
auto setup, right.
So if you have the Estey, there's a button that says Auto Setup. If you have the EZ series, it's Style Setup. So I've heard this taught in many classes that if you use that button, it sets up the whole organ to play those styles. But that's
Yeah.
the problem, too, if you want to experiment.
Yeah, if you want to experiment, see, what happens is that's a factory setup for you. And sometimes you might not care for the factory preset. I'll give you an example. Let's choose a smooth ballad. And right now I'm going to put the style setup button on. It gave me a grand piano. Okay. I still can change sounds just by tapping another one, okay? Jazz guitar. But say I don't want to use any of that. I don't even want the background to that. I just want to use my own sounds. That's good with the piano. And this is going to lead to another area, too, of the instrument. Your lower sound settings is going to work the same way, okay? Let's go to the lower sound. So you see here your lower ensemble here? You want to make sure you tap that on and off if you want to change the lower left sounds. Tap it on and off. I mean, off and on, I'm sorry. I said that backwards, but... and then you scroll to sounds for your left hand. Right now it's choosing anything I want to. It's on ensemble. I can have organ here. Let me get the volume up of this.
Over there. You blocked it. It's on the accompaniment.
Now I'm going to change the sound. Regular strings, vocals, organ with the 4-foot flute, organ with the 4 and 8 flute, organ with the strings, and back to strings again. Again, your style setup button selects a lot of these sounds for you. But sometimes you don't hear what the factory put in there. The sound is too low. So we must go over to you got to go over to your accompaniment setup button and raise the volume on it, okay?
Okay, I'm going to do some professional zooming again.
All right. The accompaniment setup to hear that left-hand chord. This is very important that you hear the left-hand chord.
Now, I got to point out, because I get to see the other models. He's sitting at the model. So on the Easy 4, Joni, help me out here. Easy 2 maybe. If you have a lower sound, and if I could get a little closer here, you'll see, pardon, I got to get a longer cord. So here are the two buttons on the buttons that he's referring to. Okay? Some of the models just have one, and it's labeled by lower. A lot of times we get a phone call, and this is probably, before he goes to the next topic, on this subject, this is the most important. A lot of people say, well, how do I turn down the lower? There's no button that says lower. You'll notice he referred to accompaniment. Okay, accompaniment. Now, this is the thing you have to keep in mind, and he kind of said it, if you caught on to it. The accompaniment not only changes the volume of the lower, but is also what's happening in the style. So go ahead and put that back on, the chord, just the rhythm, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now, as he's adjusting the volume, go ahead. You have strings on there?
I can put the strings on.
Yeah, put the strings. That's a very noticeable one. Okay, it's on there. So now listen to the background as he's playing and the accompaniment. The strings got louder, but so did the rest of the background. So you have to be careful how you adjust that, okay? Now, some of the Easy Series models
Has a separate lower.
Hold on, I'm gonna take you on a ride here, folks. Look at all these wires we have to deal
Oh,
with.
man.
Okay, well, stop that for a moment. I'll be right back, Jerome.
Don't get shocked.
I'm not going to get shocked. So over here, some of you, I looked on the thing, I noticed a few Easy 10 owners here. So on here, you'll notice if you have the Easy 10, for you Easy 10 owners, you'll see you have the style and the lower, okay? So there you have two different buttons. The style will adjust the volume of the band, and the one will adjust the volume of the lower. And then, what if I have the Estey? Because I notice a few of you on here have Esteys. Let's see what that has. On the E Freedom 3, it also has a style and a lower, and I don't know what the Easy 2, 1, and Discovery 3 have, because I don't have it in front of me, and I can't bring my cord long enough to the store.
But you know, Robert, that'd be a good reason for them to call their PA.
Now, that's a great reason to call your personal assistant, because they're patiently waiting right now for phone calls to help their students. And let me do this. They're waiting for phone calls to help their students. That's what I did when I said that. Okay, get my mask back on here. All right, so bring you back over. All right.
Let's talk about the tricky part.
Uh-oh.
Tricky part is, I get this phone call quite a bit too. How do I change the lower right?
The lower right. Well,
Lower
yeah.
right. You know, we want an instrument over here on the right side.
Okay.
So basically, I have to hit orchestra to right split. We want to show them that button because that's a very important
Is
button.
it on that page here? Let me see.
I believe it is. It's still on the same page. I think I took a picture of all of that.
Let me see.
Should be on that first screenshot you had.
So if you have a lower right keyboard, there's another button here. Let me move it. And it says right to split.
Yeah, right to split.
Okay, let me just circle that there, folks. There it is. Now, if the question that I usually get when we're showing these materials is, I'm going to, just a side note, today, later on in the day, I'm going to take this recorded lesson and I'm going to put it on YouTube, and in that YouTube, in the description, I'm going to put a link, and then you'll be able to access all of these materials that we're showcasing. Okay? All right.
Excellent. Excellent.
So that's kind of the
Orchestra
button
to
you're
lower
pushing.
split, right. Now, right, if you don't have that on, you're not going to have a split in your right hand for your lower right. See, it's going to be a complement all the way across here if not. So you have to have right split, but I believe on the Easy 2, that's automatic right split. Another thing to call your PA and check on it, okay? So if I have this on right split, then I can use any of these voices on the top for the right, for the lower right, all right? That's your strings. That's my guitar. That's my piano. That's my woodwinds. And there's my more sounds. And again, you also can scroll to find something else for your lower right. That's a good thing because when you're playing and you don't want to change, don't want a quick change, you just go from top to bottom. Let's put piano on the top, okay?
You have to have two of them on.
Two of them on, yeah. Strings.
You have to have the two buttons on. No. Yeah, there you go.
Notice I got strings on the bottom, piano on top.
So wait a second. Show what you just did there. So right now you have a piano on the top and the strings on the bottom?
Yes.
So what did you do?
The strings last.
Hold on. Let me zoom in. Hey, I got to get paid extra for this camera work here.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
What I did was I put the piano on, got the piano on, then I hit strings, both of them together,
How did you get the strings to blink?
by hitting them both together.
Exactly the same time?
I did.
I think
You can do,
we'll push strings first. I think you actually hit piano first.
see now I just got strings on both keyboards.
Yeah, sometimes I do that and the strings goes. So here's what you do, folks. The easiest way He did it because he does it naturally. Go ahead and push strings while you're holding strings. No, just push the string button while you're holding it. Press the piano button. Now look at this, folks. So in case you're wondering, all right.
While holding one, the second one you hit is going to go to the other
you
spot.
said you hit them both at the same time. Uh-oh. My boss was trying to call me. Let me put it on airplane mode. Sorry, folks. Give me a second. I'm going to have to yell at my boss. Don't call me in the middle of a class. Okay, so the easiest way, he kind of does it naturally, and I've seen Joni, Sean, all these guys do it. They just kind of naturally do it. But the easiest way to remember this is if you want the sound on the top, you push and hold it, and you want the sound on the bottom, you push the other one. So you see how I did that there? Do it one more time, a little slower. Let me get this angle here. Your fingers are locking. There we go. Okay. So now the blinking one is on the bottom, and which one is on the top?
Piano.
Now what happens if you take the right split note, put it back the way it was?
Now the piano is blinking.
Yeah, put it back the way it was. Quickly, for my back gives out. All right. Now see that right split button there? Go ahead and turn that off. Now what happens when he does that, there's no sound on the lower right, but they're both on the top keyboard.
And actually, you just went into the dual button.
He just went, I skipped ahead to dual.
That's all right. That's fine. That's the two sounds at one.
Now,
when you don't have the
most
right,
of the organs can do that, right?
Yeah, most of the organs can
Easy
do that.
twos can do that? Joni, shake your head.
This is
No.
a single keyboard.
I think you can put two on together for the top keyboard, for the melody. You know, that is another great question for your PA. I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe you can push two buttons together on most of the models, and that's how you get two sounds on at the same time. If you're not sure about that, that's a great question to call your PA and just say, hey, this is what I have. Can I push the two like they were talking about? Okay, go on to your next thing there.
Let's go to our musical notation. I wanted to do this little part because I feel that music theory has been kind of a headache for some of our students because we don't teach a lot of music theory. But I did want to go.
This
I
page
heard,
here?
yeah, I really did. I wanted to send you some information on notation. I hear Don talking about it all the time. I just wanted to give you my point of view. And Robert's going to send this out. Okay, you can print it out. It's very simple. I got it out of one of our beginners' book. I think it was Harold Leonard, book A. Just so you can have something to reference by. How long do you hold a quarter note? How long do you hold a whole note? How long do you and counting? And just recognizing the notes on the staff. It's just a little bit of rudiments, and we don't like to teach a lot of theory, but I feel that what you're seeing on the screen right now is something you really need to know. And you need to practice on this just like you practice on your music. For those who are...
So this looks like if you're kind of new in the hobby.
Kind of new in the hobby, yeah.
Just a basic, what is a quarter note, what is a half
Yeah.
note?
And I wanted to do that
What is
today.
that little dot right there? I always wondered what that, what's that means. I'm learning something right now too, folks. Look at that, a dotted half note.
Yeah, there you go.
These are good terms for a brand new student. Then.
Brand new student. I wanted not to forget the brand new students
Am I
online
jumping ahead
today.
of you there,
Or
or-
you might need to review it, okay?
Is there anything else I need? Am I going
I
further?
think you're doing okay.
Okay.
So, but I do want to go over a quick little exercise for any level player to help the dexterity in your fingering and help you to learn how to count. Can you pull up my rock and roll method?
Oh,
When I was teaching
Let me see.
the quick start classes about 10 years ago, I used to have a group of people in here, and I used to call it my rock and roll method.
all right. Let's see if I can get this to work.
Okay.
I recorded it earlier. Let's see. I don't know why it's not. I hear it, but I don't see it. Hold on, folks.
Oh, we might be able to play.
You
play
might
it-
have to just do
play it for me. You can
Let me
put your
see.
camera here if you like. Okay.
Hold on. I'm trying to bring it up. Oh, it's not working. You're just going to have to do what you did
Okay.
earlier.
I'm gonna do what I did earlier. Okay. I recorded my fingering, something that you can use to get your left hand coordinated with your right hand. Now, what I want you to do is take your pinky, and you're gonna call it rock, and your thumb in your left hand is gonna be called the roll. Okay. Let's put a rhythm on with it because it works better when you
Hold
using
on.
a rhythm with it.
Hold
Okay.
on. I got to do some professional camera work here
Okay.
now. Watch this, folks. Not only am I a professional cameraman, but I am pulling it over and above his head. Oh, my goodness. This is... All right.
Now, what you want to have on with this is a strong beat.
Hold on. Let me get this a little closer. Whew. This is making me dizzy. All right.
You want to have a strong beat on your rhythm. So I'm going to use the gospel rhythm, and we're going to learn how to count today with what I call the rock and roll method. If you want to start off with your left hand first, you can. A lot of teachers don't want you to start with your left hand, but I think it's very important that you start with your left hand. Here's the rock and roll method, okay? Rock, roll, rock, roll, rock, roll. Every 4 beats, rock, roll. And the next thing I want you to do is take your right hand, put them on the first 5 notes, starting with C, and you're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, put them both together and do this. Rock, roll, rock, roll, rock, and stop. Do that for about 3 minutes each day before you start playing, and it's going to get your left hand, your eye coordination, and a point where you don't have to look at the keyboard as much, okay? It's called the rock and roll method. If you do that every day before you start actually working on your lesson, it's going to help your dexterity, moving your left hand and your right hand together. Now, I also chose a song that you can practice on too, or play every day, and try to memorize it. It's called Lightly Roll. It's a perfect little song that is a old folk song, and I think I even used this when I was actually learning to play the clarinet, the saxophone, the cello. Everybody had this in the basic band book, okay? Lightly Roll was a well-known song to get people started because it was very simple. It only has 2 chords, and it also gives you the same method I was teaching you on the rock and roll, because your left hand is only going to hit the C and the G, the C and the G. Here we go. That's the C.
So you're saying this is a good
This is a good warm-up song.
warm-up song?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called Lightly Roll, okay? For some of those who might have had a quick start back in the early days,
let's
it's
see.
in that particular book.
Well, it's okay. I have.
You got it already up there,
But
okay?
so you can see here, the music is very simple. It's easy. You'll notice in a lot of the classes that we've taught, whenever there's something involved, I know Joe taught a class last week. He started off with something simple. He talked about a warm-up. He used When the Saints. When I did learning how to memorize a song, I always refer to warming up with a song and something simple. And then I refer to using, a lot of times we tend to do things that are a little out of our comfort zone, and that's good. But I always think it's good to have something in your back pocket to warm up to. And so kind of what you're referring to is the same thing?
Exactly what exactly. Because what I want to do here is get your left hand and right hand going and making sure you play it in time. It is sad to see people who won't afraid to move the left hand. This should cure it if you do it on a daily basis. So normally what you want to start out It's some sound that you like, that is pleasing to your ear, not what the instrument picked out for you, because it might not be the right sound. So at this point, I'm going to use the trombone because I like the trombone. I can't play it. I never could play the trombone. It was my arm was too short. I couldn't get that slide out there, or that 7/6 position, or what they used to call it. So let me pick the song. I also like the flugelhorn. Let's use the flugelhorn. Take the organ off, and we're gonna put on. And I'm gonna start with the tempo about 80. Now, when you play this song once, bring it up 2 notches, twice, 3 notches. Get it where you can play it to about 120. Here's Lightly Roll. I'm gonna slow it down to about 80. Rock. Rock. Roll. Rock. Roll. Roll, rock. Now get to go where you can do about 120. Roll. Rock. Roll. Rock. Roll. Now you notice I went from 80 to 120 at once, because if I took time to do it every another 2 points every time I did it, it took us all day to do this. Okay, so you need to do this kind of like a practice song. It helps your dexterity, getting the left hand and right hand moving together. So when you do go to another song that has an F chord in it, or maybe a D and a G, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get there. Any questions today on anything we talked about? Let's see some hands, Robert. We got some questions?
Well, some videos aren't shown, so I can't tell if they're raising their hand. They use the raise. You have any questions whatsoever? No?
No.
What rhythm style did you use on that last one, by the way?
Rock.
Rock what? Full band?
Huh?
He used the full band rock on that
Full
style?
band rock on that style.
Okay.
It's kind of a rhythm that you can use with Proud Mary.
What other styles could you use with that?
Standard at about 80. You can use
Standard
country.
about
You can use actually you use anything on that. You can use country on that. You can use a polka on that. You can use full big band on that. It doesn't matter. Just long as it's pleasing to your ear and you're comfortable with it.
Okay. Okay, are there any questions about anything, especially the sounds buttons that you were talking about earlier? Mm-hmm. That's a really good experiment. Now, if
It's unfortunate we don't have a lot of people that's showing their video today, because some of those might have questions.
Let's see here. I'm going to go back to the screen here. So this particular sound page, just so you know, this was out of the Easy 4 book as an example?
Easy 4,
okay.
Right.
So back to this page here, you'll see that there's a More button here, and you'll notice this particular page, you want to go into your owner's manual. I may not be the same page number, but you all have in your owner's manual a page. In this case here, you'll see, as I'm scrolling through, it has piano, and then it shows it's the 6 pianos. It's the 5 plus the initial one. So each one of these has 6. Now on the Easy 2, I believe there's, don't quote me on this, but I think there's 4 or 2. I'm not sure. Okay. Each of the models have a little different amount that they have, and I know some of them, you push the piano, you'll get 2 options or something like that. And then in the More button, in this case, there's some of all the extra sounds that are in there. So those are, in this case, the More has an additional 38 plus all of the ones here, so I think that adds up to around 70 or something like that. And then you'll see here he mentioned the dual sounds. And it tells you there, press and hold the sound button, and then while you're holding it, you press the other one. Okay? Jeannie, you had a question?
Settings for the left hand on the bottom.
Okay,
More
say it
button.
again. You got cut out there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, you were talking about the left hand settings, if you didn't like the settings that are originally given when you press a style. Can you give an example for us of when you don't use a style and you use your own setting for the bottom left hand?
When you don't use a style, you said?
Well, you're using a style, but you can change the sound of your left hand, correct?
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
so,
I'm a
yeah,
little
so,
confused, but can you give us an example
yeah,
of
we'll put on
when
a
you
smooth,
would change that?
yeah,
Let's
so he's
put-
going to put
put
on
a
a
smooth
smooth, that's
button.
actually put on pianist.
Okay.
Now we're going to use pianist as an example, and here's why, for the purpose of this. Pianist and guitar styles tend to start off with just piano or guitar, okay, in the background, and sometimes a bass note. When you're using the full band styles, for those of you who have the full band method, the full band, it's a little harder to hear because what happens is you get a lower sound sometimes with a band that's happening, so sometimes it can get sort of
Busy.
busy in some cases, or sometimes it gets covered up by the sound. Now pianists and guitarists on the other hand, so before we do that, go ahead and push smooth and then the full band. The full band.
Okay.
And then just play the chord. Now listen to this for a minute. Okay? So that's a smooth full band. Go ahead and stop that. Now push pianist. Now listen to the difference. Okay, so it's not as busy. And the sound that came up, let's see here, it's already lit. So go ahead and turn one off and then turn it back on.
Get organ
There's
on
an
the bottom.
organ there. And then what's the other one? Push the other one off. More button and then on. There's an acoustic guitar. So those are 2 sounds that are going to be barely heard maybe. Now so that's the 2 sounds, to answer your question, those are the 2 sounds that come up with, in this case, the smooth pianist. Now
But
he's
you're
going to
gonna
do is
change
push the ensemble, what is that?
Ensemble.
Ensemble. He's going to turn it off and on.
And then scroll.
Once it's in the window, then you can scroll.
And that's what sound you're going to get in the left hand.
Now listen closely. Now if you got the vocal now.
Yeah.
Okay, go back to strings. Now, if you're listening to this, even over here, it's hard for us to hear the difference because that sound is typically soft. Now he's going to come up to the accompaniment. Now you hear the strings come in a little bit more there when he did that. The trick to that is, you don't want to turn it up so loud that when you play the melody, go ahead and play a couple notes on the melody. See? Now, that's going to change. Now, he didn't have the style setup on.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put style setup on. Now push your lower and the more. If you look at, now what's the ensemble say?
Let's see what the ensemble say. Is say
The
strings.
strings. Again, let's do it again. Okay, now he's going to turn it up. Okay, now he's going to play the melody. Now watch what happens. It's kind of hard to hear the melody now. Okay?
Let's turn one of them off. Let's turn them more off.
It's okay. But what happened was, for the purpose of the exercise of you hearing this, he blasted the accompaniment. What number is it on?
It's on
Push
10.
it. Oh, it's on 10.
Yeah.
So as he turns accompaniment on, or I turn it, watch this. It's on 10. So I don't know that I would ever turn this volume up to 10. Maybe 8
is
might be the
fine,
max.
yeah.
Let's see what happens. That's better.
Yeah.
Okay. that answer your question, Jeannie?
Sort of. Can you do one more thing? Let's say, for instance, you wanted to play in church and you wanted a real organy sound, but you wanted to do it with some rhythm, not just playing chords. Then how would you do the bottom? I mean, would you put more organ on the bottom then, or
You have to travel to Joni's store in Sun City and have her give you a lesson on that one. That's too hard for me.
If you go to your
No.
if you go to your ensemble button and scroll, okay,
Okay, so wait, let me just make sure I understand. You want to play an organ type of sound?
right?
okay,
Okay.
you got to choose.
And
the
you
one
want to
spot.
use the rhythms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, this is, if it was me, he's probably going to do something different. Actually, I'm going to take his idea from earlier. I would power up the organ. Well, let's make sure I know what volume is. Okay. I would power up the organ, and I would do what Jerome suggested earlier, is I would turn on the organ, turn off the style setup, so that way you can set it up the way you want manually. Style setup sets it up for you. All right. Then pick a style that you want to use. In this case,
Smooth.
he's using smooth. Are you using pianist, guitarist, or full band?
Let's go with pianist.
Okay,
because
he's going to
talking
go
about
with the
church.
pianist.
Okay, and
All
then
right.
I'm gonna put maybe
He's going to touch the ensemble button.
and I'm gonna scroll to organs. So she likes organ.
In this case, he's going to put on one of the organ
Let's
sounds.
put the 8 and 4 on, and let's do another organ. Let's put the more button on and
He's
scroll.
putting the
too.
more button on, and
We're gonna find an organ sound under the
let's
more
see
button.
there. There's another one in there.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Whichever
there's
one.
more organs.
There's a
There's two of 'em.
Celeste and what you call a Hammond B3 sound. Let's go with the Celeste.
Okay, so now he's got two organ sounds on there.
So you use the more button for the top hand and the bottom hand.
Well, he hasn't gotten there yet, but right now he put it for the lower.
So you have a more button for the bottom. You also have a more button for the top.
Right. Now, before he gets to the top, he's going to play the chord. Go ahead and play it, and then he's going to adjust it so he can hear the volume. Let's see. All right.
I can hear it quite well.
He can hear it quite well, and that's
Let's
on.
lower it so you can see the difference.
You don't want it too soft, and you don't want it too loud. That's pretty good.
That's
he-
pretty good. That'll
So he's
happen
got
on
it at
nine.
9. Now, if he wants an organ sound on the top keyboard, he's got the option. First of all, this is the default, so he's going to turn off the other two sounds, the more and the piano. Turn it off.
Here? No.
The strings, turn that off. Oh, it just stays on.
Just
Oh,
stays
there you
on,
go.
right.
So now there's the organ button. And then over here, now he's going to go in and scroll to the organ sound he wants. He's kind of trying to look around my hand. Bear with
Yeah.
me. So that's just one way. There might be other methods. There might be other ways that some of the other instructors would say, and some of you have, depending on your model that you have different organ sounds. There's different pipe organ sounds. There's different church organ sounds. I noticed a couple of you on here recognize a few of the names. If you have for you Easy 10 owners, what you want to do is push style setup number, or general setup number 2.
Yes.
I believe, or 3. I believe it's number 3. One of the
3,
styles, one of the general setups actually gives you those organ sounds in advance. But that's another one. The key thing here is to not, when you're turning up the accompaniment, which is where his finger is right here, you don't want to turn it up too loud where you don't overpower the melody sound. Okay?
Yeah. We wanted to do something with the Easy 4 today because there are ways if you don't have a preset button to find sounds quickly. So-
Okay, any other questions? Any other questions?
No.
Any other questions from anybody else? It was a good question.
Very good question.
All right, well, I'm going to make Jerome play a final number here. But before we do, I'm just going to give a quick announcement here. Da, 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 da. They changed something on Zoom here, so the
They
settings are a little
I
different.
got my update the other day.
Okay, so real quick, folks. Next week we're working on. I do want you to take a look at if you go to the website, you're going to notice right now on our website, you'll notice right here, and I'm going to say this a few times this week, because next week, you'll notice in our variety class calendar from the 12th to the 17th, it's blank. You'll notice on the product feature class, it's also blank. All the classes that are on here, that were here, got pushed to this week, and this one's going to get pushed to this week. So we're in the process of updating it. Let's see if it's been updated yet. Yes, it has been. So everything that was here is being pushed to this week. And what's going to happen by today or tomorrow, and I would say by Wednesday at the latest, you're going to see in here something happening here. On the 13th and 14th, we are going to do a 2-day, what we're calling a recreational music making celebration. We're going to have 4 or 5 multiple artists involved, various workshops for all levels and all organ types. So if you have one of the easy series, we're going to have one instructor doing a class that's specific to that, that's totally different than we ever done. And you're going to see a whole, just a bunch of stuff happening in those 2 days. You'll also get an email announcement on that. So if you go to the website and you're looking at those times, you're wondering, what's going on this week? There's nothing going on. There will be. You're going to have 2 full days of activities here. And we've timed it so that you have time to take a break, go grab something to eat. You don't have to be glued to the monitor all day long. So it's going to be happening next week. So that's all I have for you. Before I turn it over to Jerome, I want to make sure. Does anybody else have any other questions? Oh boy, I tell you what, Hal, you look musically smarter after this class. Look at this. Look at this guy here. This guy right here looks like he's glowing with easy knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the share screen. I don't know how to. I got to get used to use. They changed the. They changed the settings on me. Sorry, moves. Okay, there we go. So Jerome's going to finish off with a little number for you before we go.
Hey, I just called and say I love you.
Let's give it up for Jerome Johnson, everybody. Big round of applause. Yoo-hoo! Well, if you have any questions whatsoever about today's class, our encouragement is always make sure that you see your personal assistant, give him a call, and don't hesitate because there was a lot of things he covered today. He talked about sounds, rocking and rolling on the hands and using different sounds in the lower and combining sounds and dual sounds and all sorts of stuff. So with that said,
And I love phone calls with questions.
yes, give your PAs a call. With that said, stay safe, keep playing music, and mwah. You can't see me smiling, but I am smiling.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Ron.
All
Take
right.
care.
Take care.